The goal, I would assume, if you're here, is to live a life of authenticity. Live a life with morals and values and expressing, living up to your morals and values. Because in addiction, you don't live up to your morals and values, right? If you're struggling with addiction, odds are you're behaving in ways, you're making decisions and choices that aren't quite leveling up with your morals and values. Hey guys, I'm life coach Rob Lopicola, specialize in behavioral health and sex addiction recovery. I am sober from methamphetamine addiction, alcoholism, and compulsive sexual behavior for many, many years now. And I am a certified coach to help individuals who are battling with compulsive behaviors, battling with self-deprecation, self-loathing, self-hatred, regret, shame, all of the consequences of living a life in addiction. And addiction can cover many areas, from drug addiction to alcohol addiction. There's behavioral addiction such as gambling or overeating, or sex addiction, which is a behavioral addiction. And these will overtake your life. Addiction is a progressive way of thinking, a progressive mindset that leads to destroying every area of your life other than the addiction. The addiction will eventually, at some point, become your number one priority, ahead of your career, your health, your family, your friends, your social life, your financial stability. The addiction will rule your life if you're truly an addict. Now, there are those that use drugs or use compulsive sexual behaviors. There are those that abuse, and then there are those who are addicted. And if you're wondering whether you may be addicted, odds are you are. Non-addicts don't question whether they're addicted. But whether you're an addict or not, if substances or behaviors, especially sex addiction, which is where I'm zeroing in on today, if these are making your life unmanageable and you're hating yourself, you're self-loathing, you have regret, you have shame about your behaviors, and you're living a dual life or a double life, one in the public eye of friends, family, and your career, and then you have another one in the shadows, behaving in ways that you are shameful about, and you sort of, on some level, hate yourself because of those behaviors. And if you are living that way, whether you're an addict or not, it's irrelevant. Your life is unmanageable, and you're seeking to change how your mind works, to change your behaviors, and to live life with healthy sexual expression and live life authentically. The goal, I would assume, if you're here, is to live a life of authenticity. Live a life with morals and values and expressing, living up to your morals and values. Because in addiction, you don't live up to your morals and values, right? If you're struggling with addiction, odds are you're behaving in ways, you're making decisions and choices that aren't quite leveling up with your morals and values. And I'm assuming your goal would be to level up, to elevate yourself to actually living at the level of your morals and values. And that's where I want to get you. I want to help you get out of your compulsive behaviors or compulsive sexual behaviors, sex addiction, or any addiction, and live a life where you are authentic, healthy, well-rounded, balanced, and spiritually centered. And if you are in addiction and you want that, that's great. You probably wanted to experience a sober life, a sane life, a life of manageability and self-control for a long time. You may have been desiring that for a while now. You may have even attempted to control the substances, control your sexual behavior. And here you are, to no avail. The behaviors come back over and over and over. And you get to a point where you're frustrated, you're hopeless, you don't see a way out. You sort of succumb to the idea that this is you, this is who you are, this is how you're going to live, and you've almost normalized it. You've accepted the fact that this is you. Well, if you have morals and values that are above how you're living right now, well, it's not you, it's a life of addiction. Addiction will tear apart your morals and values and just destroy pretty much everything you've worked so hard for. Interestingly, if you are struggling with addiction and you're young, teens and 20s, even your 30s, it's very difficult to stop. It's very difficult to change and transform your life, to delete this life and recreate a new life, because most people from the teens and 20s and even into their 30s, most people have not lost enough. You have to lose. You have to lose a lot to get to the point where you're ready to change and transform. Otherwise, you're going to continue negotiating with your addiction. You'll negotiate over and over and over again. You'll come up with excuses. One last time, just this last weekend. I'm only going to do that one more time. You're going to keep negotiating. And then at times, you'll experience where you're able to refrain from the substances and sexual behavior, and then you're right back at it again. And you've just accepted this as your life. And it's not. Again, it's a life of addiction. Generally, in your late 30s, the average age around 38, is when most people begin to contemplate and put action into changing and transforming their lives from a life of addiction to a life of sobriety, from a life of chaos to a life of sanity. Typically in the late 30s, because at that point, you may have lost a marriage, you may have lost a home, you may have lost a career, or you may have repeatedly lost relationships and jobs, and you're at a point now where you receive the gift of desperation. You know with certainty all the negotiating, all of the effort, all of the promises have not been fulfilled. You have destroyed every vestige of hope in your life, and here you are now in your late 30s, hopeless and broken. And if you're fortunate and you get that gift of desperation early in life, you have a higher opportunity of not having to sink to such a deplorable bottom in life that you become homeless, bankrupt, ruin your reputation, ruin your health, ruin your life, and possibly experience more harsh consequences like prison or putting yourself in a deadly situation that could take your life, whether it's an overdose or a situation. So I'm hoping for you, whatever age you are, you're here because you're ready. And I want you to understand that if you do want to change and transform your life, and you have the desire for something bigger, something better, something beautiful, you have a vision, a dream for yourself that you want to achieve, you want to elevate your life to such a level where you are peaceful, serene, balanced, healthy, successful, wealthy, living a prosperous life. If that's what you want, that's great. You can wish that every day, all day for the rest of your life and never achieve it. But if you have strategies to achieve that goal, to achieve that vision, that dream, then you have a higher likelihood of succeeding. But you have to have strategies to get there, not just a wish. You can have goals all day long, but if you don't have the strategies, you're never going to get there. So you create a goal for yourself, create a vision for yourself. Where do you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 5 years? The question really is, where will you be in 5 years if you don't change? Where will you be next year if you don't change? That's interesting, right? Look how far down you may go. So what you want to do is set some goals, set a vision, set a dream, get a vision board together of all the things you want to achieve, and then develop strategies. Yes, you must develop one-step strategy at a time to achieve your goal. And if your goal is to experience healthy sexual expression, sobriety, a clean life, well, you set the goals. And in those goals, you set the strategies. And your first strategy is watching this video. You're already accomplishing the first strategy for you to begin changing and transforming your life. The second strategy is admit that you have an addiction or that you are facing compulsive behaviors that's hurting you and maybe hurting other people. To come to the realization, the truth that you have an addiction. See, those are the first two strategies to get your goal of sobriety. One, you're here. Two, yes, I have an addiction. And be okay with that. Does it really matter if you're an addict or not? The fact is you're struggling. Admitting it or not is irrelevant. The fact is you are. So admit, face the truth about yourself. And that's the hardest thing for anyone, is to face the truth. And then you have other strategies you must take after that. Now, what I want to lead you here is to a free 30-minute strategy session that I put together. It's 10 steps that will begin your healing. begin breaking the cycle of sex addiction out of your life. This 30-minute session, you're going to take a pen and paper and take notes, and I want you to gain some knowledge, gain some of my experience, strength, and hope of how I change and transform my life. Then I'm offering you, after you watch that 30-minute session, I want you to set up a 45-minute complimentary strategy call with me. I want to talk with you about your addiction, where you're at, where you want to be, and then how we can go about that. And let's talk about that for 45 minutes. Also, this YouTube channel. I have over 150 videos here about how to change and elevate your life, how to transform, how to delete and eliminate the life of addiction and redesign, recreate a life of sanity, peace, serenity, and sobriety. I have all this free for you. It's wonderful. I want to be of service. It's good stuff. This is going to change your life from someone who did it. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of all of the complimentary information I'm giving you. And then from there, we could talk about your healing and progressing to a life of change, a life of transformation, and a life of sobriety. I post a new video every Tuesday, or almost every Tuesday, on this channel. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell because it'll notify you every time I release a new video. I hope that this resonated with you, and I really hope from here you're going to click below on your free 30-minute strategy session and begin the strategies, begin the healing to achieve your goal of life change, healing, transformation, sobriety, peace, and serenity. You can do it. I did. You can too. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.